Hello, I'm Richard Bruce, Rich Lee Bruce, and these are some black convict cichlids, and they are breeding. They are breeding in this 10-gallon tank, and this 10-gallon tank is perhaps of some interest because it's sort of highly ecological, eco-friendly, because it is done completely without electricity, no pumps, no filters, no lights, no heaters, and yet here we are breeding convict cichlids. I have previously bred some crebenses in this same 10-gallon tank under the same general conditions, and a few of those remain in this tank, though a lot of them also are spread out among a number of other tanks that I have also basically kept electricity free, because that's sort of what I do. And as a sort of ecology project. Now, of course, you don't have to keep fish. You could just watch videos of fish on YouTube. That'd be even more ecological than this. Or you could just wander around and look at the birds and squirrels in your area. But not everybody's going to be willing to go for that, so I'm trying to develop this ecological form of fish keeping. Now, as you see the mother there, and that smaller one is the mother. You can see, if you look carefully, the back fins are sort of, the top fin is sort of rounded, where the larger male has sort of a pointed fin. At any rate, let's take a look at some of the other things in here. You see some elbows for PCV pipe. That's so that the cribs can hide in those things, and who knows, maybe you can breed in those. And here's another hiding spot. This is a turned over flower pot, an old classic. And what you can see here is, of course, this long piece of orange sandstone, thin piece. I love those. They provide a lot of surface area and a lot of cover for the fish. And the reason for going for all that surface area, and here's another orange piece of sandstone. The reason for going for that is that gives the place for the bacteria to stick, and especially if it's closer to the surface of the water, where the water will tend to be oxygenated, even though there is no water movement in this. And so that bacteria will process the ammonia that the fish produce into nitrites, and also another set of bacteria also sticking on that will process the nitrites into nitrates, and the nitrates are relatively harmless. And those, in fact, will also be there's probably some anaerobic bacteria down in the gravel, which will take care of that thing. So the whole thing could normally be kept without much in the way of water changes, but considerable water changes are necessary when you're doing the breeding. And sometimes I wouldn't necessarily suggest trying to breed without using filters and stuff like that. I'm sort of doing it as an experiment. Now that right there is big black slate. Piece of black slate, once again, the same thing that I'm doing, having something for the bacteria to stick on. And you notice that black mesh in the background. That is basically a covering that is used as sunscreen over windows to reduce energy usage. And I have thrown it into this aquarium. Been using it for a long time. Seems to be harmless to the fish and everything. But that plastic provides, once again, another place for the bacteria to stick. And there's a little plastic plant that I allow to float in there. Once again, provide cover for the fish, to protect the fish from one another. These are cichlids. They tend to be fighters, and so you have to provide them with a lot of safe spaces, and also to provide place for the bacteria. I have not seen, there's a, in addition to the crebenses, which we may spot every once in a while around here, poking their heads around, there is a third convict cichlid, a smaller one, and I hope it is hiding someplace in there. I recently pulled a fourth convict cichlid out of this tank because its back fin was getting a little beat up, but put it in other bowls and tanks and so on and so forth. They have it now on a 20-gallon outside, and the tail is really healed up all nicely, and it's looking great again. Okay, so that's about it. I'll have to be doing more of these things soon. That's it. Bye.